Ever since I started my first job at 25 years old, I've been self-studying various things. I first studied philosophy and literature, then I moved on to project finance and ended up getting serious about learning languages. While working a full-time job, I was able to learn Japanese from scratch in less than 3 years. I have now started Mandarin and Russian, and I'm also doing a little bit of German on the side. In September 2021, I also started a side job of online coaching in time management. So the question is, how am I able to consistently study while having all of this going on at the same time? Well, let me explain. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ali. If you're new here, nice to meet you. In today's video, we will mainly talk about mindset and the importance of creating habits and personal systems. I have already explained in this video right here how I create my weekly study plans, but fear not, I shall do an updated version of this video. So first, let's talk about my mindset. Alright, so a little bit of background here. Some of you might know I'm a lawyer. I work in-house, which is why I had to do about 8 years of law studies. And the thing I realized much later, after being done with my studies, was that I really did not enjoy my time as a student. So even though it is in my nature almost to like studying, you know, as a kid, I would read encyclopedias and I would just learn lots of things on my own. It was pretty much how I liked spending my time, even as a small kid. But during university, I suffered from anxiety, depression, self-doubt, comparing myself to others, sometimes in a very unhealthy way. And overall, I was really in a bad mindset. I had a bad mentality, and there was a lot of misjudgment on my part. You know, I was simply not there, not present as much as I would have liked to, as much as I should have. So in a lot of ways, I completely missed out on my time as a student. I can also say that I simply forgot to be grateful about my time at university and about the fact that I could even go to university and get an education and be able to go to the farthest point I wanted to reach and get the degree I wanted. So I regret a lot of things about my time as a student, and so that explains why when I left university I felt kind of free again. So even though I started my first job even before I actually left university, when I left the education system, I already wanted to use my time for something else than studying law, because for about 8 years all I felt was pretty much like being in a cage where I was only allowed to study law, and I had that pressure to succeed at law and at all costs almost. So that brings us onto my current mindset and how I see things now. So feeling free again after being done with my studies, I wanted to push myself to study other things and expand my knowledge as a whole. So I partly wanted to make up for that time I had pretty much wasted at university, and I also wanted to make the most of my time. That time that I got free again, because in my mind I was free from university and university pressure. Today I feel very grateful and very lucky. My life today is exactly how I want it to be, and I'm extremely grateful for this. And so because of that, I feel like I must utilize my time to its fullest. So you could say that now I have this never stop growing kind of mindset. But I wanted to point out, even though I have this mindset, I don't have it in an unhealthy way, meaning that it's not never stop growing at all costs. I want to continue growing as a person and continue growing my knowledge the healthy way. So here you go on, the background where I come from and what is my mindset today regarding studying, and especially studying on my own and for myself. And now on to the second part regarding my habits and systems. So I'm gonna break this down into 4 sections: planning, creating habits, discipline and life hygiene, and flexibility. So for planning, the key to my planning is that I do it very much in advance and always for the same period of time. I always do my planning on a weekly basis, so for 1 week at a time, either on the previous Sunday evening or the Monday morning, my weeks being counted personally from Monday to Sunday. I do a mix of digital planning and paper planning. I use Google Calendar and Notion for my personal planning. I use Outlook Calendar and Notion for my work planning, and I use a physical notebook to do my study planning. Don't worry about me not going into further details for now, because I'm planning to actually do a future video about this and explain my whole planning system to you guys, not only for the study planning but also for my work planning and personal planning. Then on to creating habits for myself, and specifically the habit of studying. So when I started my first job, I embraced the 9 to 6 kind of life, which left me with a certain number of hours outside of work on weekdays, and on the weekends I was pretty much free to do whatever I wanted. Now, since I am a morning person, I've always been, I decided that the best time for me to study would be in the mornings before going to work. And so after feeling settled at work and in my new city, because I actually left Paris to go work in Singapore for my first job, I started waking up 2 to 2.5 hours prior to going to work, so that I could have this time, expended time in the morning to study. And after work in the evenings, I usually feel energized from having spent a productive day at work and getting lots of things done, and also the fact that I still have this feeling of being free from work. I don't have to work anymore. I'm done with my working day, so now I'm free to do whatever I want. So usually I also utilize this time after work to do a little bit more studying. On the weekends, being completely free from work for 2 whole days, I usually feel very motivated to study more and study for as much as I can. So I started studying as much as possible, especially because I could go to a cafe because I had more time and the opportunity to. So going to a cafe to study, I think it's pretty much my favorite activity of all. And so there you have it. It was as simple as this for me to create this habit of studying at certain timings of the day and the week. So before work, after work, on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, whatever that period would be, I would enter study mode. And so since this became a habit, it of course minimized the resistance to enter study mode and increased my ability to focus. Now on to discipline and life hygiene. Another thing I did completely wrong, in my opinion, during my time at uni was to not care enough about my life hygiene and overall study discipline, and also completely overlook the fact that my life hygiene was impacting my study routine. I would pull all-nighters all the time, study in different places, so everywhere and nowhere at the same time, at different hours, never a set timing. I would eat unhealthy food all the time. I was not getting any real physical activity. and I ended up being completely unfocused and stressed out as a result, since I was not getting any efficient studying done. Now, it might be hard to believe, but at the time, I was actually one of the worst students of my group, and I failed a whole course, which I had to retake 1 year later on my own. I was this non-organized, unhealthy person. And at some point during my final year at bar school, I simply changed. I wish I could tell you what happened, but today at 28 years old, I don't have enough hindsight on myself and that period of my life to understand and tell you why exactly that changed. But I just changed progressively, and one morning I just felt a complete different person, and my whole life was shifted. I now make it a point to apply basic principles of discipline while I'm studying, so, such as keeping my phone in silence mode, or keeping it away completely if I don't need to use it. I'm not snacking. Overall, I keep distractions away. Having a set study time to make sure I stay focused. So meaning when I start studying, I tell myself, okay, I will either study for that period of time, so for 1 hour, let's say, or study that particular chapter, and it doesn't matter how long it takes me, I'll just study it until the end. So a set study time or study frame period. And, things like cleaning and organizing my study space before I start studying and after I'm finished with my studying. On the side, I always try keeping a good life hygiene. Now, I must say that, eating properly and exercising enough is something I'm still striving for. I'm not perfect, and while my study discipline is quite good, I admit that on the life hygiene part I'm still struggling, and there are many reasons for that, but I'm still working on it and trying to improve myself on that front. Now on to flexibility. Now, this last point may be the most important point to actually understand how I stay motivated to study. I stay flexible about different things. I stay flexible with myself first, and the expectations I have of myself. I do not have a set amount of hours for studying every week. I just go with the flow, and depending on what I want to study for that particular week. I do not stress myself out to study either. Studying is only a hobby for me. There is no reason why I should feel stressed out about it. And if anything, I actually strive to keep it as fun as possible. Even in the type of studying I do, I keep it fun and very enjoyable for myself. So based on these two things, even if I miss out a day, for example, or I'm not studying as much as I wanted to, I was not able to focus, for example, during one specific study session, it doesn't matter to me. I simply tell myself, okay, well, I'll do better tomorrow, or there is always next week, and then next week I'll do better. And then I also stay flexible with my hours. So I don't have strict hours where I must study, like from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. every day. It's not like that at all for me. I simply go with the flow of my energies. If I want to study, from 6 a.m., then great, I will study from 6 a.m. until I can't anymore, until I need to go to work or start working or start doing something else. Doesn't really matter. Or if I'm energized at 9 p.m., then I will study at 9 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. if I feel too tired from work. So in terms of study hours, I also stay flexible. And the same goes for the duration of my study sessions. So as I said earlier, it doesn't really matter for how long I study. What really matters is that I stay focused on my studying, because unfocused studying is wasted time, in my opinion. I really want to have proper productive sessions, so it doesn't matter whether these last 4 hours or 15 minutes. I apply the same principles, to each study session. If I'm unable to study for as long as I wanted to, because I wasn't able to focus for that long. I simply tell myself, okay, well, today that's all I was available for, and that's good enough. And so here you have it, the why and the how I'm able to study consistently while having a full-time job and a side job now. And I thought of finishing this video with a quote I particularly like. Study while others are sleeping, work while others are loafing, prepare while others are playing, and dream while others are wishing. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope it was useful and insightful for you. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!